Okay, so what is organized private sector doing about this? Because you see, it's very important that everybody is carried along in this process for us to get to the zenith of where the automobile industry is supposed to be. So what is organized private sector actually doing to help companies, small companies, for instance, who are actually who are actually producing, some of the components that we're talking about? What is the organized private sector actually doing?
There is also the other arm of this business, which is the Manufacturing Association, the AMCA, who are the company manufacturing company. They have been very, very active. They had their own advocate structure. They had a lot of, why we put it, they have had a lot of problems. They have had their own association, and that association has been in the forefront, seeking to have chief fund to be able to access, to be able to do this business. On the other arm of those also are in the trading aspect is to see ability to key into the reinvestment structure, such a way that the synergy in terms of reinvestment would benefit both the industry in the short term, medium term, and the long term. And encouraging our brand owners to appeal to them that this country has a viable market, and the viable market is beyond the population that you are seeing, not just in terms of population, in terms of the fact that this country has a very heavy land mass and a population of over 160 million people. The most veritable means of moving from point A to point B is still vehicle. Not every community can own an airport. You can't own a seaport. That can you own. You have to invest in rail track is a lot of money.
But you see, Oseme, sorry to cut you there. I'm really desirous of getting a car, and just like every other Nigerian, we want to drive good cars, not Tokumbo cars. We want to drive brand new cars. We have two categories here in Nigeria of cars that are being used. We have the new cars and we have the used cars, and the used cars form a very sizable proportion. Now, in what ways are investors in the new car segment trying to increase their market share and ensure that every Nigerian has the opportunity of driving a brand new car, so that we can, as much as possible, reduce our dependency on Tokumbo cars?
Thank you very much. A used car is a used car, whether used in heaven or not. It's a used car. That's the point to start from. But when the used car starts with his used problem, you will get his used value. But going further on the matter, it's very simple that we encourage all of us to drive new cars because of the safety, the warranty, the return on investment that you put in a new car. The access to make it cheap and affordable for every person to own and have. That desirability is very, very key in our consciousness as a group and as a person, an individual, and as an industry stakeholder. But along the line, we will not keep when the assembly plants were working, it was known that when you graduate from school, just go get your key, go to the plants, then production was possible. That was a story, and it still was a story that was on when we just joined the industry. We had what they call a Q board, and when people come to us, we just list down their name, they get a loan. It's the financial environment. It's only in this country too, for example, that you take a whole cash and go and buy a vehicle. It's a credit structure. The issue about access and affordability of car anywhere in the world has nothing to do with your ability to pay in one term. The banking structure, the issue about identification. Now, if I read the statistics for you, between 2008 was the highest in the last 5 years, which we had sales of 75,000 units. Now the sales has dropped to 40,000 to 45,000 new car. In that year, 2008, the credit was available to all persons who have viable and legal means of income. Then you can take them on, and the bank will provide you credit. Sometimes when our foreign partners come to this country and they discuss with us, they find it it's unbelievable that people will just have to slave all their life, put money together to buy new cars. All you need to do is to go to a credit with the credit bureau and the bank. They will offer you loan, and that credit element, once the credit structure or credit system, access to finance is not in place, you are not likely going to have a strong an industry that will allow everybody to drive a new car. It is not. You see the expendability of the vehicle. Once you pay for it, you start to use them and start to get value for it, and start to pay along the value. So I think more than that before is the regime where the credit structure in allowing people own cars is put in place. And I know that's to do with issue of identification, because once people take vehicles now, they run to the bush, and even the tracking, they can even afford to offload the tracking structure in it and put the car underneath. So those are issues about an environment, the consciousness of the environment, and beyond the manufacturer. As sellers, manufacturer, even when we manufacture in hundreds, it will still cost some money. You see, the minister said we want a car that will cost 1.2 million to 1.5 million. Good. 1.2, 1.5 million is over about $7,000 or $8,000. Would you be able to pull that money if you are a salary earner?
You just said now that we can do a structure, where you can pay. It's like taking out a mortgage, of course.
Definitely.
So you just pay, bit by bit until you finish paying the money for the car, and then. But there's always this issue of, for instance, somebody loses their job, after taking this car, and we have the mortgage on it and on all the rest. How do you get to pay over time? Will the car be confiscated back, or will the car be taken back from you, or what will happen?
Yeah, it's just like a lifeline. It's a lifeline you have been given, and in the US you find they call pre-owned cars. When you see this pre-owned, some of these issues around pre-owned, people who have lost their job, just like you have a shutdown currently in the US right now. People cannot meet they'll give you some moratorium, maybe 3-4 months, and say, okay, within the next 3 months, if you're not having your payment up to date, we'll take your car back from you. That's possible. But then the other structure will be what you will definitely be involved in getting to pay for that car. Then you say, now you cannot afford to continue to finance this thing, we need to take this car back from you. Then you need to restructure your life. So,
okay, Joseme, going forward now, how much do we need the private sector to drive this new policy forward?
First, we need to encourage and beg that we are not averse to increasing tariff, but we want it followed through to everybody who want to participate and partake in this industry. Now should be an opportunity to ensure that everybody is up to date, paying taxes, paying all their relevant duties. As per se, we would, as a group, want to see a very, very formidable, vibrant automobile industry that we met when we started to do when we started into this industry. Now, so we can ensure that the issue of employability is guaranteed for our people. The roads are safer. People drive new car and not used car. We are not a used environment, so we shouldn't drive used. It's not advisable to be driving used car, and we should move to the level where we can ensure that ownership of vehicle should not be a pain. Should be in such a way that we can encourage credit around our environment and encourage manufacturers who are coming to ensure that when productions are taking place, they take into consideration all the peculiar issues around our environment, safety, the terrain that we're driving, and things that cannot be fixed in one go.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseme, for sharing your thoughts with us on the program today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you.
And it's my hope that when next you call, I will be available to share lights.
We do hope so too. Well, I've been speaking with the Chairman, Automobile and Allied Products Trade Group of the LCCI, Oseme Oigiagbe, and we've been looking at the new policy for the automobile industry and generally all issues that actually affect the automobile industry. But that's the program for today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Harriet Agbini.